Hello, everybody. Welcome along to SportsBet TV with me, Paul Alster. I'm very pleased to be here with you for my first bulletin of November, and I'm looking ahead to the racing coming up on Saturday, the 4th of November. If you happen to be new to this service, then please press the subscribe button just below this screen, and then you'll be able to follow all my free tips. And I know that a lot of you were on last weekend, my two selections. I'm delighted to say both hit the target, and I noted from your comments that quite a few of you made a killing, and that was great. I made a few bob too. First of all, Waka Clan, well, 16 to 1 was the price I suggested. I saw that some of you were on at 25s. That's very tasty. And he was so brave from the front, just kept on finding that little bit extra. And as I pointed out to you, he'd won over the 2 mile 5 the time before, and I was optimistic that he would keep going, and keep going he certainly did. And then, as if it wasn't good enough, Aberama Gold, we gave him another chance, and he didn't let us down. He was really well back from the recommended 8 to 1, and he just loved that really deep ground, and he came away at Doncaster to win in pretty easy fashion for David O'Mara, and that basically provided us with 152 to 1 double, which is absolutely outstanding and not bad for free, of course. It meant that here at SportsBet, we ended October with a £354 profit to the level recommended stakes, and that follows on from profitable months in both September and August, while in July, which was the start of our 4th year at Out in Front, we actually finished dead level. So we've had 4 really good months, and I'm very much looking forward to having more winners along the way. Now, as well as a great weekend at SportsBet, it was another good weekend for my followers at Out in Front, my subscription service. You can find the link to that just below this screen in the description box. And we've been flying for some time. We've had a series of really good winners. And last week, Gevray at 10 to 1 was a very nice winner. And Celeb Dalen went in at 15 to 2 as well, backed all the way down to nearly 3 to 1 or something ridiculous, and absolutely dotted up at, I think it was Exeter. And those followed on from 28 to 1 and 22 to 1 winners earlier in the month. I'm giving 4 selections at Out in Front tomorrow. So if you want to check them out, do think about subscribing. It's just £25 a month, and there's no lock-in period, so you can stay with me as long as you wish. The longer the better, of course. Give yourself a better chance, but it's your prerogative. It's a shame for you not to be on board, because things are really flying along there now. You could give yourself an early Christmas present and join us as the jump season really does get into top gear. Well, I have 2 selections for you, as I said. I'm steering clear of Wetherby because that one is in a great deal of doubt, but I've got one for you at Ayr and another one for you at Newmarket. I'm taking you first to Ayr, the 142, a 3 mile handicap hurdle. The going is good to soft. They haven't had as much rain in Scotland, certainly in the west coast of Scotland, as they have in the central southern half of Britain. And good to soft ground will certainly suit our selection. But one thing is clear, that Nicky Richards is setting his stall out to try and win this race. He's saddling 2 of the expected market principals in Caius Marcius and Ginga Flame. Now, these 2 are both veterans. It's hard to know which one is actually the stable first string, because Ginga Flame is pretty much the ride of Sean Quinlan, who gets on with them. Brian Hughes tends to ride plenty of Nicky's horses as well, so I don't know if he had the choice. But Caius Marcius, with Brian Hughes on board, what a great old horse this is. He's won 17 races, and he'll be 13 years old on New Year's Day. Time is against him, I suppose, but he continues to keep on rolling along like Old Man River. Been in great form in 2023. He's won twice, and although he was a little bit disappointing at Newton Abbot last time, you just wouldn't rule out Caius Marcius running a good race, while Ginga Flame is no youngster. He's in the veteran stage now at 11 years old, holding his form well too. And I think that says a lot about Nicky Richards as a trainer. You know, he just has a really good touch with them. Ginga Flame won over 2 miles 5 furlongs at Kelso in September. He's gone up £6 for that. But for me, more than the rise in the weights, the concern is the 3 mile trip, because he's yet to win beyond 2 miles 5, and it'll be a bit of an achievement to stretch him out to win at this type of trip at such an advanced stage. Now, Barnaviddaun Lad for John McConnell travels over from Ireland. Now, this is a horse who looked a really good prospect a couple of seasons ago. He was third in the Albert Bartlett of 2022 at the Cheltenham Festival. And that was a massive run, but he's really struggled since then. He hasn't been the same. Finished well down the field when we last saw him at Kilbeggan in May. Now, he has come down to a pretty tempting mark. But the stable, John McConnell's yard, has been really quiet of late, so I think he probably has it to do, unless there's a big market move. Talking of market moves, Aramax, trained by Ben Haslam, runs in the colours, the green and gold of the great J.P. McManus, one of the shrewdest punters of all time. And this horse won twice this summer at both Carlisle and Uttoxeter, going up in total £11. Now, that £11 mark seemed to get the better of him when he was only fourth last time out at Carlisle. He didn't run badly, but it could have been that the very testing ground that day just wasn't in his favour. He's not out of this, especially if there is a market move for Aramax. And so I take you on to my selection, and the horse in question is called Wakul. He's trained by Nick Alexander and the mount of Danny McMenamin. And this is a horse who will be easy to spot. He's a very light grey horse, all the better for a recent pipe opener on the flat at York over 2 miles. I rather fancied him to run well that day, but he began to struggle well over 3 furlongs out, and he looked as if he'd drop out the back of the telly. But in the closing stages, he got a second wind, and he stayed on again to finish 7th and was really coming home quite nicely, but the race had gone. Now, the thing was, I thought he would run well because he usually goes well after a break. But it might be that, like a few of us, as he gets a bit older, it takes him a bit longer to warm up. And maybe they just needed a run to get him fit this time. Now, he's returning to hurdles, and I think he's going to give a really good account here because on the form of his Grade 2 win in the Rendlesham Hurdle over 3 miles at Haydock in February, he's got a big chance. And he's returning to a track where he's run very, very well before. In fact, he won this very race 12 months ago. And if that rain stays away, any significant rain, he can handle the soft, but I think he likes good to soft ground ideally. I think he's going to go very well. He's only £2 higher now than his last winning effort. And although he's got a lot of weight, I think he's going to go very well. And we've just had the first early prices coming up, and he's popped up at 6 to 1 each way with the first early tissue from Bet365. So that, I think, is a fair bet. Wakul, 6 to 1 each way in the 142 Adair. And then you're going to have to wait till the very last race at Newmarket on Saturday for my second and final selection. The going at Newmarket is heavy, and as we saw on Friday, plenty of horses are really finding it hard going. And by the time they run that last race, it'll be very nearly dark, and the ground will have been cut up after 2 days racing. It's a 7 furlong handicap, and there are 18 runners declared. Quite a few of the runners, though, do have form on a testing surface. I'm not going to go through too many. I'm going to focus on a few. We don't have any betting to guide us here, so I'm kind of, just assessing this based on my own thoughts about the market. Now, the top weight, Marshall Dan for Heather Main, beat Hodler, Jim Boyle's runner, by 2 lengths on soft ground over this trip at Leicester last time. The runner-up isn't that much better off, actually, just a couple of pounds, although he does have an apprentice on claiming £3 more. So I think that there's every chance that Marshall Dan will come out on top again if in similar form. It is late on in the season, and you always worry about horses going over the top and just deciding they've had enough and they'd rather, just have a little dob around and not really put their best foot forward. Now, another interesting runner who's got 4 wins to his name, all of them on better ground. So on the face of it, a horse that is going to very possibly, be against the ground, be against him. That's what you would think at on the face of it. But sometimes you've got to look a little bit deeper. And the horse in question is Carl Burke's Lee Marty Dreams. Run a number of good races on easy ground without winning. And he did just that when he was third on soft ground at Haydock last time. He stays well too. And he's got a very promising young rider claiming £7. So I don't think you have to stretch it too much to see him being there at the finish. Now, Jamie Osborne has a horse called Hierarchy. Another one who goes really well when the mud is flying, and he hit the target a couple of starts back, winning at Goodwood over 6 furlongs. But the issue with hierarchy is that he's never won beyond 6 furlongs. And in really deep ground, even though he goes on it, it will stretch his stamina. And then you've got Bernard O'Reilly for the Richard Spencer yard. Now, he has won at 7 furlongs, and he handles testing ground. And on his staying on 4th in the Ayr Silver Cup in late September, you would give him a real chance. But he's just a bit of a quirky horse and isn't easy to catch right. But he wouldn't be out of the reckoning. So to my selection in this 18-runner field in the mud. And I'm hoping for a big run from the George Baker-trained Heronimus. Heronimus, ridden by Paul Rennan. And this is a horse who is unexposed under these conditions, even though he's 7 years old. His victories, and he's only had 2 victories in his life, have both come on the all-weather. And in fact, if you look at the bare figures, as I know a lot of people do without delving deeper, that's why they struggle to find big price winners. But if you look at the bare figures, he's 0 from 16 on turf. And on the face of it, that doesn't augur too well. But let me just try and make a case for him. He has finished 2nd on 4 occasions racing on turf. And that includes when he was caught in the very last stride of a hot 7 furlong handicap at Glorious Goodwood a couple of seasons ago. He went for home. I think Adam Kirby was on it. He went 3 lengths clear inside the final furlong in a really good handicap, and he just got caught by one that kicked in the turbo and ran him down in the last 2 strides. So he's a horse that handles soft ground and at a decent level, and he's able to put his best foot forward when the mud's flying. Now, he again ran well last time out on turf. That was at Ascot 4 weeks ago. He kept on to be 2nd. In an amateur's event, but then he ran a little bit of a below par run at Kempton last time, and maybe that just came a bit quick after the Ascot run. He's had a bit more time to get over that, and they booked Paul Mulrennan, who doesn't ride too often for George Baker, but did partner a very nice winner for him in the Racing League earlier this season, quite a valuable race. So the booking is a positive, and I'm hopeful that there'll be odds of at least, and I'm saying at least, 12 to 1 each way for 5 places are surely going to be available with 18 runners for Heronimus in the final race on the card. Interesting to see how they price that one up as well. So there we have it, my 2 free selections here at SportsBet. Let's hope they run well. It might be asking a little bit too much to have both of them win this week the same way they did last week, but you never know. And do remember, if you want more tips, all at decent prices, nice each way prices, a few of them, I think most of them, are double figure odds, then check me out at Out in Front and think about joining me there. But for now, from me, Paul Alster, enjoy your weekend, and I'll be back same time next week. Bye-bye for now.